Who is ready to bust some stash? This is my scrap tub this is just Island Batik fabrics. Not even all of it, just the batiks that I stored together in a collection. I got lots of bright colors that I want to put together. And I was doing a lot of small projects, but my resolution for 2024 was to make more big quilts and fewer of the little things, little pot holders and bags and tiny totes. And I found a pattern that I want to use. I am using Stashtastic 2 by Doug Letgo, and this is a fat quarter quilt friendly book. All the patterns have fat quarter directions, but with the pattern that I'm going to use, it's called Sparkle, and it uses just a ton of the same size square. So I have that in mind, and I'm going to use just white for those stars in the middle. And that way they can pop a little bit, complement the rest of the quilt. And even, I mean, looking at the quilt that Doug has featured in here, that looks like a bunch of scraps to me. So I think this is a super fun, scrappy quilt, and it's going to be a joy to put together. And plus, I mean, using up scraps is very fulfilling. And we'll see how this turns out. I usually don't like scrap quilts. I don't like the ones that I make. I like ones that other people make. Maybe some people just have a better eye than I do for coordinating, but I usually like to work off a full collection and then do something scrappy with it, then all the colors match together. So we'll see how this goes. I don't know, but it'll be a cute pattern at least, even if I don't like pick the right combinations. See, so if you are using fat quarters for this quilt, you would need 28 fat quarters of assorted prints, 2.5 yards of the star pattern, and then 6 3/4 yards for the backing. And this quilt finishes at 72 by 80. It's a big quilt, so 80 inches is the max for my Moxie. It's an 8-foot frame, so this is going to work really well for it and be nice and big to snuggle and cuddle up with. So first I'm going to be cutting out these star fabrics. It's all the same fabric, so it'll be easy to do some quick cuts. I think we only need 3 sizes out of that, and we'll be all set on the star pieces. And then from the assorted prints, it's going to be all just one block. So I'm just going to keep cutting, sorting through everything until I have enough blocks to make the whole quilt. So when making the block, there's block A and block B. You won't be able to tell from the overall quilt, but there are 2 different blocks in this. So in making the blocks, we take our smaller star squares and mark a line corner to corner to them. And we do the same with the medium-sized squares that we were all cutting up, a line from corner to corner. We place that marked square where the line is facing up, sew on that on the corner in the bottom left corner for the small square, trim away the excess, press open that seam, and then do the same on the bottom right with our bigger square, just sewing on that line, trimming away the excess, and then pressing that open. A bunch of that is just for the first block A star. To make block B, it's the opposite way. Our big background star leg is going to go on the bottom left, and then that smaller piece goes on the bottom right. So they're just going in opposite directions. And that's it for the star pieces. We have our middle piece, we have our star legs. We're going to assemble them together. The pattern has really good descriptions on how to press your seams. Doug takes a lot of consideration into that, and they always work out really well. That even though I have this big quilt with lots of seams everywhere, they nest up really perfectly as long as you follow the instructions. So all the block A's get made, all the block B's get made, we have all our stars done, and to make it have some movement and swish around, there is one more block where we're putting 3 squares together, and those act as like a border sashing to the big star blocks. So we'll have a piece to the left, and they'll move all the stars over, and we just follow the diagrams. We lay out the whole block, and we might mix around some things to get the color balance since it is scrappy, but if you have enough pieces, it'll all work out. With all the stars together and assembled and all our rows combined, there is one more big scrappy piece, and that is the border. The border is just a ton of squares. So we match up all those borders. They're going to match into the seams of the star blocks. So even though I usually struggle with borders, just having a big long strip, keeping that straight, cutting it straight, For this, you're just gonna have all your blocks sewn together, and then within each block, you'll be able to make sure that your seams are lining up, and it's all gonna match up in the end. It's super great to have a pieced border like this, I find. And here's the finished quilt. I hope that you love it. I'm really adoring the way these stars pop off the quilt, but we still have a big mix of colors, and it's scrappalicious, and it was a very good beginner project. So there's 12 patterns in this. I'd like to make all of them, and that was just the first one that popped up to me, and as we work through it, I think that's a good way to dip your toe in the water and do a nice beginner quilt. And just stay tuned to see what else I make from this book and what fabrics I can pull together. I'll leave a link to this in the pinned comment below. You can get it at Fat Quarter Shop, you can get it on Amazon, or you can buy directly from Doug. So, alright, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!